Hello everyone and welcome to my Season 11 Dash Rogue build guide. My name is Avarlin and today we're going to be looking at this high mobility speed farmer, and it's been cooking for quite some time actually. Before you get too invested in how the build works and everything, you do need a lot of cooldown reduction to even play this build. You are recommended to get at least a Harlequin's Crest and then a bunch of cooldown reduction on your gear. Just follow the planner and check if you have the requirements to play this build. To play this build smoothly, you want to have dash on a 2-second cooldown or lower, otherwise you're going to run into a lot of reset issues. The way you reset your dash in this build archetype is by hitting targets with your smoke grenade. That might sound weird, but through the quickening fog aspect, we are actually getting access to this reset mechanic. In order to get as much cooldown reduction as possible, we put this on our amulet instead of, say, our gloves. So this means that if you get 2-second cooldown on your dash and you hit 2 targets with your smoke grenade at the end of your dash, you are going to infinitely reset your dash. If you do fail to reset your dash at any point, you can just throw a smoke grenade manually or drop a death trap to reset all of your charges. There are a bunch of weird niche mechanics around the damage scaling for this build that needs some deeper understanding of how this build deals damage. We are dealing a majority of our damage from the Shadow Slicer aspect. This spawns a Shadow Clone dealing 700% of our damage in the same path that we are dealing. This Shadow Clone retains all its skill tags from the normal dash, plus the skill tags that Shadow Clone normal has access to. However, this does not count as casting an ultimate, so we do not play No Witness in this build. And that might sound weird because we are casting Death Trap quite frequently. Death Trap is basically used in this build to group up the enemies tightly for us to hit more target with dash, so that we also reset it more frequently with smoke grenades, etc. But there is a weird niche thing with this build which kinda makes us not want to spam Death Trap. Aspect of Apogeic Furor basically increases our damage dealt whenever we have cast an ultimate, and it only works for ultimate skills. The weird part with Shadow Slicer aspect is that it actually counts as a ultimate skill. This means you can effectively snapshot your Apogeic Furor at 9 stacks and just retain the damage bonus as long as you don't recast Death Trap. You don't have to do that in order to play this build, but if you want to min-max it as far as possible, that's probably what you have to do. Shadow Slicer is also permanently imbued with Assassin's Stride boots, making this a shadow attack and therefore scaling with anything elemental damage wise, like Caniglyph and other things. Something that might feel weird when you're playing dash is that you have a short cooldown when you press dash until you can press dash again. This is to prevent players from using too many dashes in a row. However, it might make the build feel a little bit clunky. You can get around this by having some attack speed to reduce the animation time for dash, making it feel more fluid to play. Another buff for Season 11 is that aspect of synergy now works with dash in combination with quickening fog, giving you both buffs at the same time. This is extremely powerful and basically gives you a 55% damage multiplier on your items, which is insane. So that's a lot of mechanics and how this actually functions under the hood, but how does it actually play? Well, you want to dash into enemies, press caltrops to prepare the damage increase, and then you want to group everything together with Death Trap before spamming even more dashes. Ideally, you find a nearby wall that you can dash into repeatedly, because then your damage is centered in one area without you dashing all over the shop. Because unfortunately, you can't decide how far you dash. This can be a problem on certain bosses where the boss hitbox is very small and you dash very far. So basically, big hitbox good, small hitbox bad. Versus bosses like Belial, this is not a problem like you can see on screen, because you basically have an entire semicircle that you can dash into. However, in certain encounters like pit bosses, you will have to be a little bit, finicky in order to hit the boss repeatedly. The reason why you might deal less damage than you think on bosses is because most of your damage comes from the small circle at the end of your dash, not the actual dash itself. The small circle at the end of your dash is another separate payload that deals 350% of your dash's damage. That's called Disciplined Dash, and you want to try and aim this so the circle hits the boss at all times if possible. It's much easier to do on a big target, quite difficult to do on a small target. We do have Shadow Step in our build, mostly just to traverse the map even faster. So you can dash forward, Shadow Step to another mob, and just keep on being very mobile at all times. It also gives you access to another unstoppable source in case your concealment is on cooldown. Defensively, this kit is actually basically immortal. You will have the clandestine aspect, which gives you more subterfuge skill ranks, so you have a bunch of ranks to your Dark Shroud, giving you insane amount of damage reduction. Anytime you're triggering the Yule Quack's rune ward, you're also getting a massive shield from Second Wind. Having high Quack's uptime in this build is actually quite difficult because of the cooldown shenanigans happening with Dash, but you get it frequently enough to feel very safe. If you have high attack speed, you reduce the animation cooldown to make it a little bit easier to have higher uptime on this. The footage you see on screen right now is not a true representation of this build. This is a pit 80, and you can see that I'm basically clearing it on time. Bosses actually die kind of fast with this, but we have been quite significantly buffed since. Quality on gear now increases the stats on the items by 1% per quality. We have gotten the capstone crit, which can now basically crit on tempers, and we also get the random chance for the tempers to be GA to begin with. This basically makes us have 100% clone damage and 100% dash damage compared to basically 70% with both that we had on the PTR. This footage is also basically without the sanctification, and the pit scaling has also been reduced in order to make us a little bit stronger. So don't focus too much on the number you see on the screen. Instead, focus on, does this build look fun to you? And if so, do try it out. It's actually pretty enjoyable to play. When I've been playing on stream and I've done all of my meta testing, I've probably played this like 20-30 hours every single season, so I do think it's a fun build to play. If you have any questions about this build, how it functions, how to reset, or just how to optimize, just leave a comment in the comment section below. I am more than happy to help you guys figure out, how to optimize it and what you can do with all of the customability that we have with Sanctification in Season 11. This build will not have a dedicated guide, however, it will have a updated planner that I will link in the description below. If you have any questions, just reach out in the Maxroll community Discord. It's also linked in the description or in the comment section, and I'm more than happy to help. For now, I will show you guys some footage from the PTR, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao, ciao.